Hi, I'm Johnie and welcome to my channel, and I read every book recommended by Graham Stephan. If you know who Graham is, great, but if you don't already know who he is, you should. Either way, let me give you the rundown. Graham Stephan is a YouTube personality in the personal finance and investing world. From finance tutorials to over-the-top reactions, he's got a lot of personality, humor, and energy infused into his content. And despite becoming a millionaire, multi-millionaire in his early 20s, he still seems incredibly humble and grounded. If you can't already tell, I'm a huge fan of Graham's. I wish I was his friend. And over the past several years, he's been a huge help to me understanding finance. Now, when I had graduated college, I was so new to the world of personal finance and I had so much to learn. I was reading books, I was listening to audiobooks, podcasts, reading articles, and then I came across Graham's channel. It was a way for me to engage in his content, but also reinforce the knowledge I had picked up from other areas. So it was only a couple weeks ago where I was browsing YouTube and I came across Graham's video where he was sharing his book recommendations. And I was like, hey, I like reading books, so what if I read every book that Graham recommended and I document that experience? Here is that video. And in honor of Graham, make sure to destroy that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know exactly when I release new content. I mainly make career development videos, but I learn new things every single day, so everything I learn, I'll be sharing here with you. Alright, the books we're going to be talking about today are Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins, Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin, and 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. So out of these 5 books, I've actually already read 3 of them a couple years back, and I have 2 of those in physical copy right there. Boom, boom, boom. And the rest of the books are on my trusty Kindle. Alright, so the first book we're going to be talking about today is Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins. Now, who is this book for? This book is for anyone who wants to make a change in their life for the better, or anyone that wants to understand themselves better. Whether that's decision making or emotional intelligence, or it's just reinforcing a stronger growth mindset, this book is going to be for you. Okay, if I had to summarize this book in 3 main bullets, the first would be to make a life change, you've got to raise your life standard and reinforce the beliefs that you can achieve them. Second, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. Of course, here he's talking about habits and developing strong habits that empower you. And third, even the smallest decisions and changes in our behavior can produce sizable and measurable differences in the way we live our lives. This can be both disempowering and empowering, but the good news is that it's always within our control to make these decisions. Every moment is an opportunity to do the things that empower us. This is the book that started my habit of reading. I read book after book after book, and it all started with this. I don't think anybody needs to struggle for this book to be life-changing. It will still help you elevate your life in the areas that you want to. Tony Robbins has so much insight, and over the last 50 years of him being a life coach and peak performance coach, his expertise was on full display in this book compared to every other book that he's written. There's a lot of stories in this book and examples that demonstrate real-world applications so you can apply them. But more importantly, aside from the examples, at the end of every chapter, he has a list of exercises for you to go through. So it's a way for you to really engage in the book, actively consume this knowledge instead of just like passively highlighting it or reading from cover to cover. It's a process of self-discovery as well. It really forces you to question whether you've been blaming your faults on other people or your surroundings, or if you've been indulging in any bad habits or making excuses for why you haven't achieved certain goals that you've set for yourself. The purpose of this book, it's supposed to help you develop some self-awareness, make better decisions, but most importantly, value a certain level of growth for yourself. As you grow as a person, the way you experience the book, the way you interpret a lot of the examples the first time is completely different from the 7th and 8th. your experience of the book completely changes. And it's really cool because it feels like this could be timeless. Not only did I read it from cover to cover, but I took book notes, I shared what I was learning with other people, just anyone around me, and clearly I'm still doing it now with you over the internet. My recommendation is that if you were to get this book, you certainly need to do the exercises at the end of each chapter. You're not going to reap the full benefits of what this book can provide if you just skip that over. Would I recommend this book? I would absolutely recommend it. And in fact, I've actually gifted this book. This is my most gifted book to my girlfriend, to many of my friends and colleagues over the last couple of years. I'll put a link to this book as well as all the other books in the description below. It's not an affiliate, at least not yet. Okay, so next we have Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. And I have this here on my trusty Kindle. I'll probably just put a cover picture here somewhere. I think this book is for anyone who is interested in becoming wealthy, any social scientist interested in learning about the mindset and motivation and habits of affluent people. This book is a compilation of the author's personal anecdotes and data gathered from his research through surveys and interviews. Now, this book was first published in 1996. Some of the financial figures that they use are still a little bit outdated. Either way, the principles still remain the same. If you're to take anything away from this book, it would be this. The author reveals through his data that the average millionaire lives well below their means. So they lead very unassuming and unglamorous lives. You'd never be able to tell that they're a millionaire just by first glance, if at all. This is so drastically different from what we typically see on TV. Now, whether it's celebrities or other prominent figures living in the hills of LA or driving fancy cars, to me, this is the stereotypical image of what I had in mind. It's the only reference for what I've understood wealthy people to live like. It brought my expectations down to earth of what a typical millionaire is and does and behaves. So my thoughts on this book, yeah, the main message, anyone can become a millionaire and stay a millionaire. This book details some of the common qualities that millionaires have. And the first is that they're very frugal. Very few millionaires actually drive luxurious cars and buy expensive clothing. They're pretty modest. They lead modest lives and they often live in areas that have lower cost of living and also lower societal pressure of American consumerism. Number two, whether these millionaires have a traditional job or not, most of them own small businesses. And number three, children of first-generation millionaires typically struggle financially because they end up developing bad money habits and also a dependency on their parents. And number four, these millionaires are split into two buckets. So the first bucket is an under-accumulator of wealth, which basically means their net worth is low relative to their income. And then there's the prodigious accumulator of wealth, which basically means that their net worth is high relative to their income. As an example, a doctor that makes $200K but spends $180K is going to fall into the under-accumulator of wealth bucket. Let's compare that to a local librarian making $60K but only spends $30K and then invests the rest. Despite outside appearances, the librarian is better off over the long term. There are several other qualities that the author listed in the book, but I went over the main ones I found interesting. Would I recommend this book? Yes, I would definitely recommend this book for people who are brand new to the world of personal finance and investing. However, this isn't a book that is going to get you to take action and learn how to save money and invest. For those of you like me who have already read the top 50 finance books and feel like you've got strong discipline in saving and prioritizing your money and being frugal, there's going to be better options out there for you. Okay, on to the next book. This book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, for a long time, I've strayed away from Think and Grow Rich because it was published in the 1930s and I wanted to read more contemporary works of self-development. After reading it, I could see why it comes up time and time again. This book is based off Napoleon's research and analysis of the top 500 most successful people during his time, from wealthy people to politicians and innovators to titans in different industries. So I'm going to go through this one pretty quickly. Some of the main points in this book is number one, Successful people have an unshakable confidence in themselves. Number 2, you can build immense influence by increasing your knowledge and constantly self-educating. And that education doesn't have to be from school. And number 3, you can achieve more by surrounding yourself with smart people. Would I recommend this book? Probably not. If you can filter out some of the outdated writing style and dated social and political commentary that Napoleon makes, sure, there's some stuff to learn from the overarching self-development concepts. With that said, Awaken the Giant is probably a better alternative for you given that it's more recent and it covers pretty much everything in this book and then some. The 4th book on this list is Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin. As I've mentioned earlier, I read a lot of finance books, but I rarely come across books that discuss the topic of how we should be relating ourselves to money and improving that relationship. Vicki Robin did a fantastic job proposing concepts that I know I'm going to utilize moving forward. Number 1, you should redefine your work. Vicki says that when it comes to money, we spend so much time earning it, spending it, investing it, owning and protecting it, and worrying about it, we don't realize how much time that really is. So rather than making a living, we're actually making a dime. She then asks the readers this question: do we come home from our making a living activity with more life? Do we have a boundless energy in the evenings to spend with our friends and family? Or do we actually spend time trying to recover from it? These are the questions that I frequently ask myself as a mental check-in just to ensure that I'm really focusing in on the work that I truly enjoy. The second point that I want to share with you is this concept of life energy. And life energy is essentially the time that we spend to earn something. So anytime we decide that we want to buy something, we have to ask ourselves, is it worth the trade-off in life energy? So as an example, let's just say that I make $15 an hour and I work 40 hours a week. If I'm deciding whether I want to buy a $300 pair of shoes, then I have to ask myself, is it worth half a week's of life energy? Now that's a question only you can answer for yourself. It might be yes, it might be no. For me personally, using this framework has forced me to be more intentional about the purchases that I make. Am I spending it on something that is aligned with what I care about? Am I spending it or investing it on things that I truly believe in and I think is gonna give me a good return on investment? It's about intentionality, and I love this concept of life energy. Okay, so even though I only picked out the 2 main points that I loved, there's so much more that you can learn. I would highly recommend it to everyone because it really does help you strengthen your relationship with your hard-earned money. If you like this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and also comment down below and let me know what you found most helpful so far. Which books are you considering getting? And also, if you have any nonfiction book recommendations for me, I'd love to take a look at them and read them. Probably make a video about them sometime in the future. All right, so we are down to the last book in this list, which is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And I absolutely love this book. This book is for anyone who doesn't want the traditional 9-to-5 job, anyone who wants a lifestyle of leisure and travel, or anyone that just wants to simplify the complexities of their current job. So the book structures itself with an acronym called DEAL, and the D stands for definition, E stands for elimination, A for automation, and L, liberation. Each one details the steps that you need to take to go from working in an office to prioritizing meaningful work and designing the life that you want. So I'm not going to go into each letter of the acronym, but I just wanted to say that every inch of this book is so jam-packed with value that it takes a lot of time to digest, and I feel like any sort of breakdown won't do this book justice. Instead, I'm just going to jump right into my thoughts. So Tim Ferriss has found a way to combine personal development with the genre of productivity and entrepreneurship to come out with this masterpiece that is centered on lifestyle design. And his focus is really about working smarter, not harder. For anyone that's new to Tim Ferriss, I would say that his books really do challenge conventional wisdom. For some people, they may not like that. However, he has developed a very strong following. It's like a cult, and I would say I'm a part of that following. Would I recommend this book? Yes, I would. So you should just go to Amazon, go buy it, go to the library and borrow it, read it. I mean, there's only a couple books that I've ever read where I wanted to sit down, read from cover to cover in one sitting, and then do it all over again. So you know what to do. To recap, I love reading and going through Graham's book recommendations, and I love the fact that 2 of my favorite books ever appeared on that list. Graham is someone that continues to inspire me, and I love learning from him, and I can totally see why now. I mean, we both read material from some of my other idols. If you like this video, then I'd love for you to join my newsletter. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell for more content just like this. In addition, make sure to like the video and also comment down below if you want a more in-depth breakdown of any of these books I've covered in this video today. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.